Good evening, Dude79 here, just doing a quick mic check, making sure these mics sound good. I had to hook everything back up after a long weekend at the Middle of the Mall Comic-Con, so just doing a quick mic check. Hopefully everything sounds good on my end. Let's see how Tone sounds.
Hi.
Sounds like total shit, just like he looks and smells.
No.
We'll be live in just a moment. Thank you, Seven Dungeons, for that raid, sir. We'll be live in just a moment. Welcome to another edition of Banter and Babble. I'm the Dude79, and joining me always, my esteemed colleague and renowned POS, Mr. Fanboytone. Mr. Fanboytone, what's going on, dude?
Not a whole lot.
You look rough.
Yeah.
We're back in the bar.
Mm-hmm.
We're back at headquarters. We're back at home base. We're back from the Midland Mall Comic-Con.
Yep.
Back in the comfort of our where we typically are every Wednesday night.
Right.
But we got that. We think we got that con crud.
Got that con crud.
We got that con crud where you get home from a place that was jam packed with people, and you just feel kind of ugh.
Yeah.
I know you're feeling much worse than I am. I've been just kind of like groggy and a little kind of blah,
yeah.
But you're like full on just a shit show, right?
I had to actually bust out my nasal spray yesterday because like my allergies or whatever was going on. I was blowing my nose nonstop, which was annoying, and I had like clog up here in my sinuses. Today I woke up 6 a.m. with a borderline migraine, and I get a couple migraines a year, it feels like, but like this bad headache for hours, and slept most of the afternoon to try and get some rest because I'll tell you, like this headache, and I still have light like pressure behind my eyes, like all in this area. It's better, but it's not. It's less than.
Paul King says, "Man up."
Yeah, go figure.
Ladies and gentlemen, Paul King, the maestro, the man, the guy that put the Midland Mall Comic-Con together. First of all, Paul, thank you so much for that opportunity, man. We had a hell of a time. We know it was a huge success, and we had a blast doing it, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It was a great time. It's different to be on that side of the aisle, I guess, at a con, after going to cons for so long, to be there. I know 7D Dungeons really appreciates being involved in the D&D. as well too. So he had a blast. Damn, they were killing it down there as well too, especially that last day when people realized Dungeons and Dragons was going on. So
yeah, Paul, I don't know if I don't think you can see the chat on the Facebook side, but a lot of people in the chat are thanking you for putting on a great show and doing some awesome stuff to give the Tri-Cities something to look forward to next year. So. Again, dude, echoing what they're saying, we really appreciate you, dude. We had a great time. I know everyone that I know that attended had a really great time. My wife and my kids came out. My kids were amazed. I don't know if you saw the photos that she posted on Facebook of the kids, like by Grimlock and by the State Park Marshal.
Oh, yeah.
Master Chief. I mean, they had a frigging blast. They had a great time. And, and that's basically what everyone has said so far. Everyone that I've talked to had a great time at the event. So, we appreciate the opportunity. Looking forward to, we'll learn from what we did this year, and that's kind of one of the things that you and I talked about coming back. Is like I'm going to go through that video, take what I glean what I can from it, see what things I can do better to keep give people even more of a look or a look into what we're doing at Comic-Con.
Right.
Make it more accessible for the viewers at home, make it more appealing. So a great learning experience, though. I mean, and to be honest with you, man, I went into this thing like negative Nancy in my mind. I was like, this is gonna. I envisioned everything going wrong on our end.
You were really anxious Saturday morning.
My anxiety had gotten the best of me about Wednesday last week is when I really started like oh my God, I really don't want to fuck this up. But for the most part, dude, it went off without a hitch. I think we had some issues going on with the laptop after a longer period of time of streaming, but other than that, dude, everything was pretty much on point, dude. I mean, and not to toot our own horns, but we did pretty good. Yeah,
we didn't have a whole lot of issues. I know there's going to be hiccups of these sort of things. I know, definitely, Paul. I know your anxiety was high. Just I think at the end of the day, like for all of us involved, and just first of all, thankful, to not only be involved to Paul, but to have us be kind of integrated in there. We are the official podcast, Banter and Babble, of the Midland Mall Comic-Con, right?
Kind of dope.
We can be part of some of the committee decision-making as well, too. I think at the end of the day, taking back what we learned generally as well, too, like about the con and talking about what works, what doesn't work, or doesn't work, and what people might suggest, things in that nature.
Sure.
Like you got to sit back and look at the pros and cons and where you can improve and things like that and stuff like that. And that's the whole thing at the end of the day, is like making sure that you reflect objectively and move forward and take everything into consideration, and then make the following year bigger, better, and continue to do that year over year. And with the people involved, especially, I mean, it's clearly going to happen. I mean, Saturday was massive. Like, there's no reason why next year can't be bigger. And I got to tell you, like, I know I speak for both of us. Like, we had a blast last weekend. It was, and you know what, Paul? I've had a lot of people reach out to me that have said, hey, here's things that worked, here's things that didn't work, and I tell everybody, like, even vendors or guests, let us know what did or didn't work for you. We want to know everything because we want to look at everything and scrutinize everything because, at the end of the day, Paul wants to continue to also keep doing this and make it better as well, too. At the end of the day, that's what it's about, is just, improving where you can improve and where you need to, so.
Cuddle says, dude, put a hat on. I can't, dude. My hat's broke.
He broke his hat.
My dog actually chewed on that hat like a day after I bought it, like months ago.
Yeah.
And that thing was hanging on by a thread. And finally, earlier today, that thing died. So you get to look at this tonight. But I will have a new hat next episode. I will have a hat on for sure. But yeah, dude, just to echo everything Tone said, just appreciate everybody. You only have a hat. No, I have multiple hats, but I have like a lucky hat, dude. I gotta have a hat,
but not enough hats that would necessitate a hat rack.
Yeah, I mean, no, I do have a hat rack.
Never mind.
Yeah, I do have a hat rack, but I just I only wear one hat.
Yeah.
When I do the show, and so I don't have anything else lined up. So I gotta go out, find that one hat, and be like, you know what, that's my baby, and then keep my fucking dog away from it. Man, she got a hold of that thing like seriously about an hour after I got home, and I was just like, I'm gonna kill this dog, but I stuck with it, and the hat did good. But no, appreciate everyone in the chat. Tone, Cherry Squishy's in the chat.
Yes.
What are we drinking, Tone?
We are drinking this amazing mead from
the Zen Bee Meadery.
Meadery. It's the Blackbird here. That's a blackberry and chai.
Yeah, mead with blackberries and chai.
This tastes like a chai tea with those blackberries. The spices, the scent, everything
It's
about
really
this is
good.
really, really good. It is dangerously smooth. Now I'm drinking light tonight because I ain't feeling so swell.
Yeah, he's a big bitch.
But let me tell you, get some of them cloves in there.
Good.
God damn, that's delicious. That is one of the better meats I've had in a hot minute. So
That's really tasty.
that's delicious. So thank you, Cherry, for bringing this to us. Zen B.
Zenby Meadery,
That's some you got something special on your hands there, friends. And
Columbus, Ohio.
this is absolutely delicious. This is some of the best meat I've had in a while. So kudos to you.
It feels
Appreciate that.
It tastes really good. Hey, Tricky's feeling
fucking
better. That's
delicious.
good. I didn't tell you this. As soon as I got home on Sunday, Ethan got sick. I had to keep him home on Monday. Like, I don't know what it was, dude. And I don't think it was just a Comic-Con thing. I think it was just, I think with them relaxing all the restrictions and everybody going out without their masks on and all the stuff, I think we're just kind of getting back into our immune systems are all, oh shit, what is all this?
Yeah.
And that's basically what's going on right
gonna be
now,
part of
especially
it.
in some of the schools. You know, it's flu. I think, is it still flu season technically?
I mean, around Michigan, I feel like because we go so late with winters now. I mean, I don't get super sick until late in the year, like the late Februarys and the Marches. This is the time of year where I typically get sick if I'm going to get sick. So.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and I think that's just the thing that's going on right now is everyone's just
Yeah.
kind of like getting back into the swing of things, and you know our bodies have been all secured and
Right.
and popping on masks. You know we haven't been exposed to a lot of stuff, and all of a sudden it's just like, hey, we're back at it, and here we go. No, I mean, hey, Cuddles, you know that's the thing, man. I know it's not just like this Comic-Con. I mean, it's every event that I ever hear about, like whether it's like E3 or other Comic-Cons. Whenever all these folks get together,
crud.
people get that con crud, man. They just kind of feel like booty. They're just like, ugh. And it's a typical thing when you get a bunch of people together.
I think he got sick last time and he was supposed to have his doctor's things go on.
Oh.
And that's supposed to be happening tomorrow. So he's like trying to stay away because they had to delay for a whole month. So
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
shitty,
All right.
shitty,
Well,
shitty.
hopefully show sickness. Yeah, show sickness is
I mean,
the thing.
it's a risky surgery he's having, but we
Yeah.
wish you luck. I mean, getting robot legs is not easy, but we're almost there, dude.
He's going to be pretty dope looking, though, when he gets that done. When I was in the Navy, the whole ship got sick every time we went out to sea. I mean, everyone gets together, man. It's like you're just in a big petri dish.
They all got scurvy.
They all got scurvy. Arr. Is that what you mean? Like scurvy?
Yes.
Awesome. Toe, what else have you been up to other than feeling like shit?
Not a whole lot. I've really taken it quite easy this week. Monday, just really relax all day just to kind of relax after the weekend.
I really wish
and
I
all
would have
the
taken Monday
excitement.
off.
I really haven't been gaming a whole lot either. Just kind of honestly just been chilling throughout the week. So not a whole lot.
I didn't stream Monday night. I didn't think I was going to have all this stuff set up on Monday, but I did it all Sunday, and I was like, cool, put all this stuff up. And then on Monday, I was like, you know what? I don't want to fucking stream. I just want to watch a couple movies, watch some shows, stuff we're going to talk about tonight. We do have a jam-packed show of stuff to talk about.
Yes.
So we got the drink out of the way. We got the Comic-Con out of the way.
Correct.
We got you not doing shit all week out of the way. We got your sickness out of the way. We hit on everything. Is that everything we want to talk about before we get to the first topic? Oh, next week.
Oh, next week.
There will not be a proper show of B&B. Next year, we will do this after the Comic-Con. Next week is going to be a community night. Now, typically we bounce around between Mario Kart and Among Us. But I am looking into Jackbox because Zach Dynamite mentioned that this weekend, and he says Jackbox is really fun for a community.
It is.
And I was doing some research, and there are certain games that are really good for Jackbox, for online, for streaming specifically.
It's amazing.
So, 7 Dungeons Degrees says it's a 10. Cuddles pumped. A lot of people are pumped. So, what we'll do is we'll run a poll in the Discord this weekend, see what everyone wants to do. But yes, we're going to throw that into the choices. Those 3 games, Among Us, Mario Kart, which are always staples and always a good time. But we'll throw Jackbox Party Game in there and see how that pans out. Also, oh, Cherry's already talking shit. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, like, so Jackbox, I believe, can have, is it 8 people total, Cuddles? Do we know?
I thought I read that it can have up to like 1,000. Like it's 8 for local, but I think if you come in through your phones, you can have like a lot of people.
I think they do limit it. I think there is a limit.
Is there a limit? Let us know,
I'm
Cuddles.
pretty sure. Yeah, I thought it was just like 8 or something like that. Yeah, Yeah, Jackbox is a good time. I mean, I've played it on numerous streams. So 8 to 10. Okay, there is a limit in game. Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm full of
Yeah.
shit.
Hey, what up, Tri North? Welcome, guys. Appreciate y'all.
All right, we're also going to do a giveaway tonight.
Yeah, right. Appreciate everybody. I see some new faces out there kind of hanging out, lurking. We do appreciate you. If you saw us at the con and this is your first time here, don't forget to give us a follow, hang out with us more frequently. And if you enjoy the show today, also, we're always looking for feedback, things that you want to hear us talk about, things you do or don't like as well, too. We do appreciate you having.
There we go.
Okay.
We're doing a $20 giveaway on the platform of your choice, PSN, Xbox, eShop, or Steam. Put Steam in there as well. But exclamation point, enter for a chance to win. Get in
Except
there.
for Tricky.
Except for Tricky. We're going to ban Tricky and probably Cuddles, too, because he talks shit about me not wearing a hat.
No way. Get
Hurts
Cuddles in
my
there.
feelings, Cuddles.
Cuddles never gets to win anything.
He doesn't win shit. He
That's
wins
true.
surgery. He wins surgery. That's what he gets to win. Yeah, get in there and enter, guys. Exclamation point, enter. Just a reminder, you have to be here to claim
Just
if
kidding,
you
Trick.
win. If you do win, you have to be here to claim it, or else it'll pick somebody else. Unless it doesn't work like it did last time. Who knows? We don't even know if this is going to work.
Right.
We don't even know. Mix It Up just kind of does whatever it wants. Anyways, Tom, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's
Sure do.
get to our first topic. This show dropped this weekend.
Yes, it
Winning
did.
Time, the rise of the Los Angeles Lakers. And you and I have been really, really excited for this show.
Fuck, yeah.
We've been really excited ever since it was announced, directed by Adam McKay, and just an incredible cast. In this first episode, the big stars were basically John C. Reilly, Jason Clarke, and newcomer Quincy Isaiah as Irvin Magic Johnson. And basically where this kicks off is where Dr. Jerry Buss
Doctor.
has quite an opening with John C. Reilly just doing the best he can as Jerry Buss. And this is it's a limited series on HBO Max. Every episode will air on Friday, and it plays out kind of like a mockumentary in a way.
Yeah.
Like it goes over the events that led up to Jerry Buss's purchase of the LA Lakers, the drafting of Irvin Magic Johnson, and then it's going to kind of just explore how they took the NBA and really jazzed it up, pizzazzed it up, gave it that Showtime vibe that it was very famous for throughout the 80s. And the way they approach it is kind of like The Office, where everything is going on, but then the actors will talk to the screen. They'll talk to you and narrate what's going on. So it's kind of cool how it's kind of got that fourth wall breaking thing going on. But the first episode, dude, highly entertaining.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Highly entertaining, great performances all around. I really like this Quincy Isaiah as Irvin Magic Johnson. He's really, really good. He's got that charisma, much like Magic Johnson. He's got that smile. He's got that personality. He's just kind of like this naive kid coming into the scene. He comes from Michigan, and he's out in L.A., and he gets exposed to L.A., the L.A. attitude, the L.A., the what you would expect if you go out to L.A., and he gets exposed to it, and it's a harsh reality. He's just like, holy shit, this is real. And he's dealing with, a lot of the stuff that, NBA or athletes had to deal with back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Color of his skin. And they're like, oh, we want Larry Bird, all this stuff. And it's like, no, we're going to go for Magic Johnson because he's a better athlete. He's the best guy in the draft. And so you see the struggle between Jerry Buss and Jason Clarke as Jerry West, not Adam West. Jerry West.
Oh, God.
Jerry West is a fucking scumbag.
Dude, so funny. So fucking funny.
It is. It was a really good, strong first episode. The performances are really, really good. It's a show that you're really engaged in. You're really pulled into it. The presentation is good. It's got that 70s, 80s look. You got that static image. It looks like it's shot on an old camera from the 70s and 80s. I do feel like at some point, though, it gets a little overkill because it is constantly switching between that and this other, like, blurrier, like, high contrast, like, shot. And it's just like, okay, maybe dial it back just a little bit. The music, the wardrobe, everything is great. Like, it nails the era. But sometimes the presentation itself with the camera they're using, it's a bit much. It's like in every single scene. You're going back and forth between these two different cameras. And the one that's like super blurry, it's like, I could do without that one. It's just kind of it's more distracting than it is like immersive.
Right.
But Tone, your overall thoughts? I mean, what have you taken from it? What have you enjoyed about it?
Every single fucking piece of it. I think I was telling you right out the gate, like John C. Reilly, like many guys like him, there's just something different about him. I feel like he's one of those guys, because I know he does a lot of improvising.
Yes.
He's just kind of one of those guys where like everything just seems so fucking natural and easy for him.
Yep.
No matter the role. Like even in like Skull Island, like he plays like that movie's kind of a serious.
He's really good in that movie.
And he plays like a more serious role in serious role. The fuck, a serious role, and like he makes like one little quip, and that's really about it. And it's just like, dude, like instantly, just that charisma shining through him. And listen, I'm a fan of this. This team is how I was introduced to the NBA,
yes,
or just generally basketball, I guess. Growing up as a kid, because I always talk about my old man was not somebody you would expect that liked basketball, but when it came to Showtime Lakers, because Magic was from Lansing, we watched Showtime Lakers, and that's why I still hate the Celtics to this day, because we were Showtime Lakers fan. So I grew up watching Magic Johnson like this, and just to be able to live this in this kind of capacity, kind of like a mockumentary and some comedy, I'm really excited for it, man. Like I feel like there's been a lot of things coming out recently that have been kind of period pieces from my childhood, because
Sure.
at this point I'm 40 years old, so it kind of makes sense. 20 plus years we're going to be doing that. And it I love that nostalgic feeling, and that kind of takes me back, and you kind of go through memory lane of that. So this hits a lot of different notes for me, some camaraderie with my dad growing up as a young buck out in the country of Midwest. So yeah, honestly, I'm fully ready for more. I was actually disappointed that there was only one episode. I know sometimes they push out they'll throw out 2 or something like that.
I feel like this is one of those shows where you could just push it all out at once. I
really
like the ones like the Marvel ones or something like that, where you get it 1 week at a time.
Right.
It gives you time to talk about it. Whereas like something like this, where it's kind of common knowledge, you can just read about this anywhere. And really and just kind of like enjoy it that way. I feel like this is one of those shows where yes, you could have put this all out at once and let me just binge watch it, because it is that good. Plus, again, this is stuff that we kind of already know.
Right. And so for me, I was left wanting more after the first one. Now, granted, Sunday night, because I was just so exhausted from the weekend. I had just watched a big wrestling pay-per-view, and I was a couple sheets to the wind when I watched it. I probably wouldn't be able to finish the second one. I probably would have passed out. But I just know that at this point right now, like, we've got some great TV right now that I'm really hooked on, and this kind of jumped a couple spots to like what I'm really wanting to watch week to week now, and this is something I just can't get enough of already after one episode.
And I think I said this comes out on Fridays. It's actually Sundays. Sunday nights and
Sunday
9 p.m. is
yes.
when every new episode will be released of Winning Time. But so far, the first episode, if this is any indication of what we can expect going forward, this is going to be a pretty dope show. I mean, there are some big names attached to this, too, that we haven't even seen yet. Jason Segel, Sally Field. I mean, there is just a huge list of actors in this show that's really impressive. So it's gonna be cool to see how they kind of like maneuver and get them in there, and how well they do with the characters they're portraying. But right now, I love the opening of this movie specifically, though, where Jerry Buss is explaining how basketball is like sex.
Yeah,
and how that's how basketball should be. And that's his vision. He wants it's all about sex. It's all about showtime. It's all about swagger. And that's what he does with the LA Lakers, and that's what we're gonna, obviously get to as we continue through the series. So definitely worth the watch. If you've been watching Winning Time, let us know in the comments what you think of it so far. I feel like this is gonna be a pretty good show, dude.
Absolutely.
Do we know how many episodes this is? 6?
Is it?
I think it's a limited series.
So it might be like 6 or something like that.
6 episodes or something like that, but should be pretty exciting for the next month and a half. All right, Tone, let's move on to the next topic. We are still watching Bel-Air.
Correct.
And you know what, dude? Despite my concerns with the last time we talked about this, about where they were going with Uncle Phil, they've kind of like moved away from that a little bit, and they've really turned that focus back to the relationship between Will and Carlton. And again, I feel like that is the backbone of this show. Right now is that turbulent relationship between them, and it's very, very much like the show that we know back in the day. There's just this back and forth, but then there's moments of camaraderie where they're just like, okay, I feel like, all right, this is the moment. This is where they're going to really push forward together and have this understanding. But every time we get to that point, something happens, and Will needs to get the fuck away from Lisa. If Will stopped being focused on Lisa, this would alleviate a lot of the problems. But then we wouldn't have drama, and then we wouldn't have a show. But that's the biggest thing, is like right now is they just continue to find ways to get under each other's skin, even if they're not like intentionally trying
directly,
to do it.
yeah.
It's just they keep stepping on each other's toes, so that kind of keeps things going. But I do like, you know, I mentioned Uncle Phil, and, you know, I was concerned about where they might be going with his character, and I know even though it was, you know, it hasn't been fully divulged yet, we haven't gotten into it yet, you were a little bit concerned too because you don't want to tarnish the legacy of Uncle Phil. But at the same time, they did a really good job this last 2 episodes to focus on his campaign, and now we know the chief of police has thrown his hat in the ring. And now he is going to run for is it District DA? I think it is District DA. I want to say it's a DA.
I don't know. Is it? No, I don't know.
I can't remember. Anyways, he's running for the same
you
position.
Might be right, but,
and obviously, they have locked horns in the past because he's the police chief. And obviously, you know, Uncle Phil, you know, he's not a fan of what's going on. And so now we had this whole new dynamic going with Uncle Phil. And how is that? No, he has not done the dance yet.
I don't know if that's going to be a thing, actually.
Dude, if how would you fit that in?
It has to be some area of levity, and it has to be towards the end when, like, maybe everybody's all good and everybody's together. I don't know.
Does he do it, or do you just have some random dude in the background doing it?
That's a slippery slope.
Yeah, he has not done the dance. That's a good question. I was wondering if they would try to shoehorn that in, or if they're give me some kind of a subtle way to do it.
We've all been wondering, but yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
That'd be pretty dope if they did do it. But no, the political aspect of it with the race between Uncle Phil and the chief of police is going to make things a lot more interesting. I really like what they're doing with Ashley and her exploring her sexuality, and you know, and again, Lisa being there as that support, that pillar for her. I really like that. Again, every time the family
Hillary,
I'm sorry, not Lisa, Hillary.
I didn't think about that.
Every time they all seem to find themselves in a distraught situation, that whole camaraderie thing, that let's get together and get each other through it. I love that part of it, and that part of it is still, you know, very much in tune with the show that we know and love. So it does have some of those elements still.
I think each character has their own struggle, which I like. Each character has, literally, actually, now that I think about it, without saying, they do each have their own struggle. There's like these moments of clarity where they're doing the old-fashioned thing where, you know, you see a duck swimming on the water or a swan, and they're just kind of chilling on the water, but underneath you look, they're paddling like crazy. That's kind of what they're all doing. Like, they all have something that they're really trying to, like, accomplish, or their character is just, you know, evolving or whatever, but on the surface they're trying to wear this facade like everything's good at the family because they're trying to get along. But there's a lot of great moments with a lot of the different characters. There's a struggle between Hillary and her mom and Aunt Viv. You know, so clearly Carlton and his dad, Uncle Phil, have something going on, whereas Uncle Phil, because he sees things in Will, he knows Will's better, and there's a connection there, and that's also kind of like what's driving Will and Carlton a wedge in there, because, you know, Will's never had a father figure. Uncle Phil appreciates definitely Will being not just, for lack of better terms, a square, maybe, I don't know. Like, there's things about Will that he sees himself as a young buck, I think, as well too.
Sure.
And that's fine, because Carlton's just driven differently. He's more of an academically driven, has big, you know, things and thinks ahead and stuff like that, whereas Will kind of flies by the seat of his pants. And I think
he adapts to things, you know, as much. I mean, he doesn't adapt. He adapts to things in Bel Air better than he does adapting to stuff that's going on in Philly.
Right. And I think that's part of the struggle now too for him, is he's conflicted with who he is, and I think Phil kind of recognized that, because I think Phil went through that as well too.
Yeah, him and Aunt Viv.
Phil is more Carlton now, but he was Will at times and younger, and I think that's kind of what a really unique dynamic, I think, which makes that connection there. I mean, they had a connection in the show, but it was typically more of an authority kind of thing. Like, you know, there'd be some times where they'd hug and have some cries or whatever, but it's different in this show. There's more of a like a common ground, I guess. So I think that's a really cool dynamic, and that's probably my favorite part outside me being in love with Aunt Viv.
Oh, I mean, Aunt Viv, she's incredible. I wish I had Aunt Viv for an Aunt Viv. You know what I'm saying? But you know, the other thing that I'll be curious to see how they navigate is, obviously Carlton's drug use is becoming more of an issue, and he's really leaning into it more to kind of like, that's how he's like dealing with everything that's going on. He's really starting to lean into it more, and how much more volatile is he going to become as he continues to give way to that. And I think that's where it's going to be like imperative for Will to really kind of like stop doing shit that's pushing Carlton on the brink. Again, I understand he has feelings for Lisa, but he has to ease into this because he has to realize how vulnerable and just how close to the edge that Carlton is.
Right.
I mean, we saw Carlton really go deep this last episode. at that party. And I'm also curious to see what they do with Aunt Viv and the art gallery guy. I can't remember his name. The guy.
That was really random.
Yeah, he's starting to move in now. And here's the thing. Like, he wants to get Viv back into the scene in terms of being an artist. And he tells her in this episode, they're putting on this thing for one of her friends who had passed away. And he says, look, you're doing a silent auction. If you put this piece out there and it goes for $15,000 or more, you have to come work for me. You have to start putting your stuff out of my gallery. And so he, she agrees to it. And he goes in there and he signs an anonymous donation of $15,000, which I kind of expected he would do. I knew he was going to do something like that. But the problem is Uncle Phil went over because he's seen him do that. And Uncle Phil put a donation of like $20,000. Now, the problem with that is once Viv finds out, because Viv thinks, oh, man, somebody liked my work.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody liked my
Bad
work.
drama.
And then she's going to find out Uncle Phil, and she's going to be like, oh. Because, even though it's appreciated, it's,
she wants to do it on her own merit.
She wants to do it on her own. Yeah, exactly. So that's going to be some drama. I mean, there's always some drama, and again, it's gonna be somewhere where Phil or Will's gonna have to come in and try to like be that glue for everybody to kind of bring that levity and lightheartedness, and try to like find a way to get everyone on the same page. Because right now, with Carlton, Uncle Phil's political campaign, and now this Aunt Viv and the art dealer thing, we're headed to some very rocky roads, dude. Very rocky roads, and it's gonna be really interesting to see where the season goes from here. And no. Also, we still don't know who the fuck Jeffrey is. Is this guy special ops? Is he special ops?
Third echelon.
Man, that's the one thing I'm really curious about. What is my man doing behind the scenes? Because he's always on top of stuff.
Some people you just don't ask questions to.
Don't ask questions. Just know your family's safe. That's all that matters.
That's right.
Dig it. So, if you've been watching this, we want to get your thoughts on this as well. If you're live in the chat, ! Enter. We're giving a $20 gift card away of your choice: PlayStation Network, Xbox, eShop, or Steam. I believe Dungeons is onto something. I believe he is an assassin of some kind, or some kind of like Black Ops or Special Ops or some shit.
That's on the Twitch side, by the way, everybody. Just so if you're doing the giveaway, it's on the Twitch side.
Yes.
So you got to go to Twitch for that.
On Twitch.
Hello, Heather. Nice to see you. Heather was one of my friends that showed up at Pigeon Hill that day that we were there.
Oh,
so
yeah.
We wish it was the weekend. We are knocking on its door, thankfully, really soon, so I can sleep all weekend.
I'm going to sleep a lot this weekend. And I'm going to smoke some food this weekend. Hyped about that. All right, Tone. Moving on from TV show, we got some video game stuff to talk about.
We do.
Today, we had a PlayStation State of Play. They announced earlier this week. They said, look, this will be about 20 minutes. The focus is going to be on PS4, PS5 games from our Japanese publishers and developers.
Mm-hmm.
And so they do. If there's one thing they do well, they set expectations right away.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what we're focusing on. And they'll even come out and say, we're not showing VR. We're not talking about VR hardware. This is just going to be a 20-minute show. So they set their expectations. And for some reason, there's still people on social media who are like, what the fuck? That's not what I was expecting. What more do you want them to do?
It was 20 minutes.
It was 20 minutes,
mostly
dude.
third-party stuff.
But we saw some pretty good stuff here, Tone. Now, I know you noticed as well on social media, some people were not blown away by this.
Mm-hmm.
But as somebody who's a fan of Japanese games and a lot of the Japanese influences, you came away pretty impressed with this.
It's a lot of RPG love. I'd say half of these have some form of RPG element, which is pretty typical in Eastern games these days. It's like hybrid gaming. So, and a lot of games just generally tend to have some form of RPG elements as well too. So really excited for me because I saw some things that I'm really curious about and interested in, and things that we've kind of been aware about but got to dive deeper in as well too. So thank you, Miss Rose, for that raid. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Rose, one of our good friends and pals of the E-Geekly squad. Say hello. Appreciate you here. Dialfield Chronicle. See,
there.
he said he made a comment about Battlefield. See,
Brian MX, yep, we talked about that. Returnal update is interesting as well. We're going to get campaign co-op plus an endless tower drop, and I think that is next week or March 22nd.
Still one of the most gorgeous games on the PlayStation right now.
It is a beautiful game, one that you haven't even beaten, so that's cool. All right, so there were multiple things we'll talk about Returnal, but we just pulled a couple of things I thought was interesting. The first one was what they led off with.
Brian.
Returnal got campaign co-op before Halo. Yeah, no sound. I didn't turn the sound on. No, we're good.
Well, fuck me.
The first trailer that we got was for Exoprimal. This is from Capcom. This is set to come out in 2023. It's not going to be out for another year or so. A lot of people thought this was Dino Crisis, which is interesting, but this is set in the year 2040. A dinosaur outbreak has occurred. Hordes of dinosaurs are attacking cities, causing a global crisis for humanity.
Ian Malcolm's not in it either.
That sounds interesting. You get to you throw on a state-of-the-art exosuit that's been developed specifically to combat this threat. Now, we saw a lot of gameplay, but after the stream was over, and you can watch this video over at Capcom's channel, they actually have like a director's cut of this trailer where they kind of really break down everything that this game is going to have. Basically, it sounds a lot.
I was going to say Anthem with dinosaurs. That was the comment I made too.
There's a lot about this that's some similarities with Anthem, but the way the game is played is actually very similar to Gambit in Destiny 2.
Which is really interesting.
Because I liked Gambit at first, but I think Bungie has kind of fucked that up, and I think they're still trying to figure out what to do with Gambit. But basically, in this game, you have it's an online multiplayer game. This is not like a single-player experience.
Good luck with your Square login. Go on.
This is Capcom, not Square.
That's what I said. Never mind. Move on.
Anyways, you basically have 2 teams of 5 facing off in these action-packed matches. Teams compete with a variety of rules that are laid before you by the AI Leviathan or whatever, and the first one to complete all their missions in the map wins the match. So basically, both teams are dropped into their own versions of this map with the same type of settings or whatever, and you're given certain objectives, and you have to complete them in order to win the match. We do know there's going to be 3 exosuit types. Assault, which is you basically are dealing DPS. You have Tank, which protects teammates by drawing out enemy attacks. And Support, which heals allies and weakens opponents. So pretty much what you would expect. You got Attack, you got your Tank, and you got your Support. And we do know that these dinosaur outbreaks, there are a variety of dinos emerge from these dimensional rifts called vortexes, and there are literally hundreds of these fucking dinosaurs. If you saw the video, there's a lot of dinosaurs. Now, I will get like really into a trailer and notice stuff. It really just looked like a bunch of dinosaurs running around like just like crazy. Like it looked kind of goofy, but this is obviously still very early on. The other element of the game is the AI, the Leviathan. Basically what this is this is the AI that kind of leads you through the story. The Dino Survival, the game's main mode. The AI will assemble you with a team. The Leviathan will give you missions to go out. It'll guide you to the different objectives in these open worlds. And the missions will change based on your skill and what's happening in game. So, this comes out in 2023. I do not know if you can ride dinosaurs. We do know there are various types of dinosaurs. We saw T-Rex. We know there's raptors. We know there's, all sorts of types of dinosaurs.
Right. I think you're more intrigued than I am. I will say, to preface that, though, and even though, yes, I thought it was Square at first, just because Square is mostly featured in this entire state of play, Capcom is somebody who takes risks from time to time.
Sure.
And I think a lot of times they tend to stick, so it's hard to tell if this will. I always thought Devil May Cry was kind of a risk take as well, too, for him. But if anybody has the potential to get something like this to stick, I feel like Capcom's kind of one of those ones. Clearly, for the most part, the game graphically looks pretty sharp. Like, I don't know if it's some of the best I've seen, which is rare because Capcom's games usually look really good. But then again, there's a lot of things going on here. It's a multiplayer, a lot of movement.
And it's a year out.
Yeah, and it's a year out. So, I definitely think this will be something that will keep on the radar, but it's going to be low on the radar for me right now, too. I'm going to hope that they do a beta of some sort. Because I would think they would, and Capcom's good about that too. If I remember playing Shit Lost Planet back in the day in beta multiplayer, and I loved the shit out of that game. So we'll see. what this ends up being. I mean, who doesn't want to fight fucking T-Rexes and dinosaurs, right?
I mean, like I said, man, like,
it's an interesting premise.
I'm intrigued by it, but I mean, I'm also, a little cautiously optimistic as well. I mean, it's dinosaurs, so you win me over with that. It's
Right.
co-op based. You're working as a team. Now, it's all going to depend on variety. How many different maps are going to be? How many are there going to be certain events that take place that'll be
Stop
unique
it, Brian.
to certain time? What Brian
It was
say?
not Square Enix, you piece of
Lost
poop. Nice try.
myself. I mean, there's gonna be, don't get me wrong. It sounds cool. It's a neat concept.
Yeah.
It's all about the execution. Is this going to be something that's going to be supported for a long period of time? Is there going to be a lot of content at launch? Is there going to be enough variety so it's not just the same shit over and over
That's
again?
it there, the longevity of it. And I think because we're all fickle these days, nothing really has longevity anyways. But I know that, like, we're the type of people, especially you and me, at least me, I can't speak for you, you're not really that cool, but I like new IPs. I like outside the box thinking. I like
Yes.
different things. The caveat with that, though, is that they don't always stick, right? And that's what you got to be careful with. Like, yes, I want new things, I want different things, I want unique storytelling, or whatever it might be, dinosaurs falling out of the sky and me doing multiplayer somehow with them, right?
Sure.
But it also has potential, like it was going to stick or not. So, it's kind of a double-edged sword at that point. But hey, honestly, like I'm very intrigued. Hopefully we get a beta, and maybe a year from now, maybe we'll be hooked on it. So it's got a lot of potential. It's cool looking.
We'll see. Up next, Tone, we know
Replay, yep.
we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga Collection.
It's kind of like, I don't know if has this been talked about before?
I know we talked about that Shredder game. And
yeah, we know there's some content coming out, but this was kind of like, I felt like a surprise. I'm like, whoa. Like,
I did not know about this.
Yeah.
I did not know about this. But we do know that
you
there's
get a slice of the action.
There's a lot of games in this.
That is like, what, 12 games?
13 games, including Turtles in Time, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Tournament Fighters, the arcade game, Back from the Sewer, Fall of the Foot Clan, the Manhattan Project, Radical Rescue, the Hyperstone. I mean, among others. There's a lot of different Turtles games in this. And, HD Res, you're going to get some improvements here and there, save, rewind, and more.
Right,
This
Rose?
looks pretty fucking dope, dude.
Yeah, what's the price point? That was my first question. Like, what are we going to charge for this? Like, I feel like if it's anything more than $30 or $40, I'm going to be a little annoyed. But at the same time, like, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, there's some games that I'm not going to play. Like, some of the GBA ones, I'm probably not going to play.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a few others I haven't played in a long time. The Super Nintendo, like, the fighting ones, like, I don't remember what those were called. Tournament Fighters, I think. I used to play the shit out of that. And we all know that, the Turtles in Time was something we all played often as well too. But yeah, no, this is really cool. I mean, it's really interesting to see that Turtles has in the toy figure action figure world has taken a huge jump.
Yep.
The movies haven't been overall great in the last decade or so, but like the cartoons and certain aspects of those have been overall popular. It's crazy to see a franchise like this, similar to really like Transformers or something, that just continues to evolve over time and continues to have new fans and and maybe it's not about the new fans. Maybe it's about hooking all of us old fans as well too, clearly. But man, this is pretty cool. Like, yeah, I'll fucking play it. I'm complaining about the potential price point that I don't know yet, but I'll probably buy it regardless. So
I was gonna say, I don't think it really matters.
Yeah, let's be honest about it.
Let's not fucking joke around here and lie to people. Now, I'm assuming that I did not get a chance to look into this. I'm assuming this has multiplayer and everything, because obviously there's multiple games where you can play with more than one person.
Never assume that anymore.
You can't. That's true. Does anybody know? If anyone gets a chance, can you look up to see if it's just local co-op or if there's going to be online? Because if it's got online, that'd be fucking sweet.
Yeah,
man.
like trying to play with you and Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Man, that was going so well, and then it just
weren't we having crashing issues?
No, yeah, we remember we had just beaten the big boss, and the game crashed, like it froze, and I was like, no.
Yeah,
that's some bullshit. Crash says, you see the Seth Rogen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle reboot art? No.
Are we talking like movie or cartoon?
I did not see the art.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom, while he's looking that up, what is this we're drinking?
This is a vanilla stout that was made by our good buddy Madzilla over at Michigan Brew Supply here in Midland, Michigan. I helped him kind of concoct this a little bit as well too. I know he was worried about a little bit about the carbonation, but it looks like there's some head there.
Yeah, we got some head there.
Really good dark vanilla stout. It's hard for me to enjoy vanilla stouts or vanilla sometimes because I don't always feel like I get the vanilla as well.
Oh my God, that's fucking good.
Yeah, so it's been sitting around for a little bit. So yeah.
That's fucking good.
Okay, let me hang on.
Yeah, you better get some of this, man. I don't know what he was worried about, but that's fucking good. Where's he at?
If you guys are out there, if anybody's into craft brewing or knows anybody that likes to brew at home, Michigan Brew Supply out of Midland, Michigan. He'll ship anywhere in the United States. It's like if it's under $100, it's like $7-8 to ship. If it's over $100, free shipping for the brew supplies. I mean, when I was in there a couple months ago when we made this, he was having me try the actual barley and the oats and get the flavors of them and just eat them right there. Delicious. So
wow, that is
70 notes.
good.
Yep. 70's been dabbling.
Forge Hammer says it's local multiplayer on the games that originally had it. So just local multiplayer, which isn't a bad thing. My kids will love this shit, man. I fire this up, they'd be all about playing this game.
Oh my fucking
Is
God.
that not fucking good? He's like, I don't feel good. I'm not going to drink that. Now I got to make
I'm
sure
just
I keep
having
this.
sips.
Yeah,
man.
okay. I got to keep this over here. You
Yeah,
lush.
that turned out really well. Good. Yeah, and that's the last of it too. So
I know he said he was worried about carbonation. This thing's got good carbonation. It's got good flavor. So
Yeah.
he cray. This is good, man.
yeah.
This
And-
is really got it. We got to hang out with him this weekend after
Yep.
the Comic-Con. We all went out to the Oracle Brewing Company.
Yes.
That's like our unofficial headquarters.
Yeah, I think so.
We go there and we tied one on. I got shit faced. Like really drunk.
Yes, we had a good time. We were going to try to a place in the Midland area that didn't pan out so well, but we actually made our way back to Saginaw to Oracle Brewing Company to hang out with them there. Great brews, great hangout with everybody that was able to come to the con. Out of state, Cherry, some of her friends. We had
Drassen,
Pika there,
Grayson.
Grayson.
Boots came out.
Zach Dynamite, everybody. Zach Dynamite came up from Battle Creek to hang out with us this weekend as well, too. Got him on the show if you did catch.
He hydrated us.
He hydrated us. We drank some barrels.
Some barrels.
Yeah, pretty good time. So, but Madzilla was there too, along with his wife, and hanging out. And he did give us this. So, thank you very much for sharing this. And 7D, I know, telling you, man, you know where you got to get some brew supply, buddy.
So we're definitely going to pick up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What's it called?
To get back on track, the Cowabunga collection.
Cowabunga collection.
Yes, I got a Cole Funko.
Oh, where is it?
I didn't bring it.
Cole will be in the future. Cole will be sitting right here.
Yeah.
Cole is going to be an official part of the show.
Yeah, I'll bring
He's
him.
going to be like the third host. Cole's going to be sitting right here.
Like my third leg.
The thing is, he's talking all the shit. He's probably got it unwrapped at home. He's probably got it on a pedestal. The great Cole. Right? In his plot armor. Is that what Zach
called his plot armor? That was fucking brilliant.
That was incredible.
Mm.
And the last game that we saw that stood out to me anyways, and there were a lot of them, so I just grabbed a couple that I thought looked really interesting. But this Trek to Yomi, which is like this gorgeous nod to like classic samurai films.
Side-scrolling kind of. Well, it goes into like
platforming.
In some cinematic views, I noticed.
Yes, it's like this mixture of one-on-one sword combat, platforming, and exploration. This game looks fucking rad. I'm gonna see if I can make the video a little bit bigger here, cause it's just, oh dude, it looks so good. It looks so good. Like, this is the one that really stood out to me. Like, I was most excited for this one when the trailer dropped, because again, it's kind of got that, like, it looked like that Sifu combat, like you're sword fighting, but then it goes into this like open, not open world, but like you're platforming, and like you said, these cinematic views. Like, this looks fucking dope, man. Like, this looks really, really good. Yeah. And this is from Devolver Digital. They're publishing this, and obviously Devolver Digital, when they publish something, there's a reason they're backing this game. There's a reason that they are competent to publish. Devolver Digital does not fuck around with their games.
Well, what else do they publish?
Huh? Hotline Miami.
I'm kidding.
Oh, okay, I thought you
doing that for everybody else.
Okay, I thought you were being a goofball.
No, man.
But no. I mean, what'd you think of this trailer, dude? I mean, as somebody who's into this sort of thing.
Yeah, you show samurai or ninja, I'm instantly sold. I've of course got the Limbo vibe, and I mean that just because it's black and white, and I think that's part of why I'm into that is because this is black and white. Like it's
like those old
old samurai flick. This is a vibe right here.
Yeah, I would pick. I'll be all over this. This comes out this spring, so we're not gonna have to wait long for this game to drop. But yes, when this comes out, I'll be playing this fucking game. This looks incredible. Really, really, really excited to check this game out when it drops. But there were some other good things. What else stood out to you?
There was a lot that stood out to me, honestly. That dial field, it's finally looks like some form of Square Tactics games that we're getting that's not on a fucking Switch. Even though I want to play Triangle Strategy really bad. Again, I feel like this was a state of play that was speaking to clearly a lot of their third party Japanese groups. So I felt a lot of RPG heavy. Valkyrie Elysium was kind of interesting as well too. We saw more Forspoken briefly, which I think
know that got delayed to October now.
Right, and I think that game's got a lot of potential as well too. People like those actiony RPGs. Like I got definitely some Zelda-esque feels from that, some Horizon feels like so something interesting going on there I think as well too. Of course, Ghostwire Tokyo has definitely got me really interested in what's going on there. I'm really curious on that game, so that's probably something I'm going to pick up as well too. So, but those are probably some of my big ones. The Dial Field was really exciting just because again, it's a strategy game made by Square that'll be on an actual other console outside of Nintendo. Which, to be honest with you, if you have a Switch, Square puts on a lot of great RPGs on that console exclusively. Like you can't be mad about that. I mean, they get some great shit on there. So, also I'm really curious about the Strangers in Paradise, that FF Origin thing.
Yes.
I need to know what exactly what is that an origin to? Do you know, Brian? What is FF Strangers in Paradise? What is it? Whatever it is.
Final Fantasy Origin Strangers in Paradise.
Like what is going on there? Like I'm trying to figure out, like, is that supposed to be like pre-Final Fantasy 12 or a specific Final Fantasy? Like I thought that was pretty interesting. The combat, now I know Team Ninja's involved, so it looked like kind of Ninja Gaiden in a way.
Sure.
So that of course gets me a little skeptical as well too, like how great it is, because I thought even though it looked pretty, I'm like, it also kind of looks generic as well too.
He said it's sort of a retelling of Final Fantasy 1.
Oh, what the fucking Christ hell! Get out of here! Are you serious?
What?
Because what we need is the Warriors of Light retold. Get out of here! Eye roll.
Oh, not giving it a try. That comes out. There's a demo. There's a demo
available.
Now.
I'm gonna have to try it, but like, come on. Well, the characters, like, because I was looking at the characters, I'm like, they still look more modernized. So that's kind of an interesting thing. They would go for that because FF1's, what 80% medieval fantasy, 20% sci-fi fantasy. All Final Fantasies always have some sort of sci-fi fantasy element in them, but. That's really weird that they would do that. I don't know.
I know there's been a lot of people who've been kind of like confused about what this game is or where it falls or anything like that. There's just a lot of, like, I don't want to say confused, like mystery behind it, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like it's just one of those things where we're not getting enough communication, so we clearly know. Like, just you're supposed to guess. That kind of makes sense, and you say that too, because I'm like, I see the logo and I show that figure. It kind of looks like Garland. So if they're going for like, the fuck would they do that for? I mean, honestly, 7's remake was pretty dope, but like, I don't know.
Brian says, I thought the name was dumb, but it's growing on me. It sounded like an Avenged Sevenfold song name.
Kind of funny. Strangers of Paradise, FF1 Origin. Ooh. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. That really makes me a little bit more annoyed. Like, I don't try always be a curmudgeon when they do like retellings or rebootings or whatever it is. I think the problem is that we're getting to a point where, like, you see, like, for instance, let's look at the state of play of all these games here that are quite unique.
Yep.
They might take elements from things, but then you've always got to have these people that's just like, well, let's just fucking remake this other thing. Like, dude, come on. Like, can't you just fucking continue to do what you're doing, which is creating new shit? Like, something original? Like, it sounds like Grandpa Curmudgeon on the porch, but
you are. You're just the old guy shaking your fist at the sky right now.
I just feel like sometimes it's better to do reboots than remakes because, modernize something of that story and just kind of continue from it and flesh it out a little bit deeper. But like the remake thing, like for instance, what is the White Man Can't Jump?
Oh, I know you wanted to go off about this.
White Man Can't Jump is a movie that does not need to be remade. It is not something that was heavy CGI or hard to tell because of they don't have the technology to do like Dune or something like that. there wasn't a mishap with their vision because they were restricted to the time period they were in.
I feel like it's still very relevant today. A lot of stuff.
It is. Like, if you're going to do something White Man Can't Jump, then just bring in Billy Hoyle and Sidney Dean as like the new King the Duck, right? Like, do that. Why can't they be the old dudes on the courts, like schooling kids or bringing up the new ones? Why do we have to recast those characters?
Right.
It's kind of stupid.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious, like, how much more can they, really kind of like evolve that story to now?
That's just it. You don't even need to reboot. I mean, maybe you don't even need to reboot the franchise. Maybe you don't need to remake the fucking thing. How's that?
And another thing, I mean, obviously the story was awesome. I just love the story. It was a great story. But the thing that made that movie so good was the chemistry between Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson.
I mean, they've been in how many movies together?
I mean, let's not talk about Money Train. Let's skip that one just for a minute.
You're a huge fan.
Fuck, man. Money Train was trash. Wildcats is sweet. Money Train was trash. But, no, I mean, their chemistry was legendary for that movie. I mean, that's what really helped that movie go. So if you bring in two people and they don't have that same chemistry, it don't matter if the story is, modernized. Mm-hmm. If that chemistry's in there where you fucking love these characters, it's going to be a huge whiff. Like a huge whiff, dude.
I just, and I know this is kind of a random tangent, and I'll keep it more brief now, but I'm completely baffled because I'm not always that person when it comes to reboots and remakes and things like that. Some things I think, okay, this makes sense or whatever, but like there are some things to me that just don't need to be touched. And I'm not saying that White Man Can't Jump's going to be put in the National Archive or anything. Clearly it's not, but like for me, it's in a National Archive. I'm a super fan of this flick. That is not a movie. Like, why would somebody go, need to remake that movie? That is not a movie you need to remake at all. There's no reason for it. Like I don't get that thought process, at all. Like, we're at that point now where we just can't come up with new shit. So let's just go back to the old shit and what from technology back then couldn't they do proper that they need to do now? Like, there's nothing from it. And you're right. There's characters and chemistry, all that sort of shit. So
Josie Wells asks, Red Dawn, Swayze or Hemsworth?
Oh, Jesus.
I don't even think it's close. It's Swayze, dude.
Yeah.
It's fucking Swayze.
Yeah.
It was the Russians. It was I felt like that was just way more just like gritty.
Yeah.
It was better cast. I like Chris Hemsworth, but there's a reason they shelved that movie for a couple years before they brought it out, because once Thor took off, they're like, oh shit, we got a star in this movie.
Right.
Now we'll put it out.
Right.
It's just dude. It was it wasn't even close.
Yeah.
It's the Swayze Red Dawn, and the other one's just kind of a joke.
It's silly. So we went from some Final Fantasy origin remake thing out of nowhere that no one asked or needed to White Man Can't Jump being remade that no one asked or needed. Yes. Good stuff. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you. Off the pedestal now. Off the pedestal.
All right. Let's cut over to a trailer. Right. Tone, we had a trailer drop today. I didn't think we were going to have any trailers to talk about. Oh, he's fine. He's not fucking around. He's ready to watch this trailer.
For the fourth time or fifth time?
For the fourth or fifth time. But yes, it is time to start talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Before we get to that, though, don't forget we do have a giveaway going out there. If you're on the Twitch side of it, hit !, enter, get into that opportunity to win a $20 gift card of your choice. PSN, eShop, Xbox, or
Steam.
Yes. So,
and you have to be here to claim it. ! Claim if you do win. But let's check out the trailer for Obi-Wan Kenobi.
The fight is done. We lost. Stay hidden.
The key to hunting Jedi is patience. Jedi cannot help what they are. Their compassion leaves a trail. the Jedi Code is like an itch. He cannot help it. Where is he?
Calling it right now that even though Boba Fett had a huge crowd of people that gathered around for like the series opening or whatever, smashed whatever, I think compared to some of the Mandalorian, this one's going to destroy so many D+ records day one.
Think so?
Absolutely.
Really? I mean, you're thinking this is going to be the big hit for Disney+.
I think this is really going to be the one for at least for the Star Wars side of it. This is going to be the one. That listen, I know people that still haven't seen The Mandalorian.
Yep.
I know people that do that probably still haven't seen Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Boba's been controversial in some circles or whatever. But this is Obi-Wan. This is Ewan McGregor back.
Yes.
This is going to pull. If people haven't had D+ or haven't cared, or maybe they just kind of wishy-washy back and forth. This is going to be game changing for him. This is going to be huge. And we got another out there. 7D did. He thinks Cal Kestis from Jedi Fallen Order could show up as well too. That's very possible. However, it's some of the Inquisitors that are involved. I thought he kind of dealt with himself. So I don't know if timeline will perfectly line up with that. I think that'd be great. That's a great call out. But yeah. I'm gonna call episode 4. There's 6 episodes of this. Episode 4 will
Just
be a Mando episode.
Mando.
Be all Mando.
For those who are listening, Josh has said, what episode is going to be dedicated solely to Mando?
Right.
Oh, my goodness. That's hilarious. All right, Tone. So I want to come to you on this. I want to get your thoughts on the show, but there are some things. You mentioned the Inquisitors. What's the importance of the Inquisitors appearing here?
So the Inquisitor, the Grand Inquisitor, first of all, he appeared in the Rebels cartoon, which is a Filoni joint, which is interesting that they're going to be a big piece of this. Inquisitors, up until really any of that stuff, we'd only seen as kind of characters, I think, in the Old Republic MMO that EA still runs. So these characters are now going to be live action. So again, we're going from not only cartoon, but also the rest of the 7 members, like the sisters and stuff like that. They were in parts of Rebels, a couple of them, and then they were in the Jedi Fallen Order game. Oh. So all these characters, or at least a good portion of them, are actually now going to be live action. Of course, they were all canon anyways, because even Jedi Fallen Order is technically canon.
Right.
But it's just crazy to see the Grand Inquisitor, who, for all intents and purposes, I know some people originally were kind of kind of a weird character because he can fly around on his little lightsaber.
Like a witch.
It's a little hokey. I don't think we'll see that in this, but I do know that, I know.
Nicholas Morris says on Facebook, literally almost cried hearing Duel of the Fates in the trailer. So excited to see this.
Yes. As soon as that hit right away, I definitely was like, oh my God, duels. So it's just cool that these characters, again, we're continuing to pull from other media that prior to, Disney having, we never would have saw cartoon characters all of a sudden turning to live action.
Sure.
And vice versa. Normally, if anything, it'd be live action and going to cartoon. Now we're pulling full video game characters and cartoon characters and making them live action. That's pretty wild. So,
7 Dungeon says, since Duel of Fates is playing, do you think it hints at Maul?
I think Duel of the Fates is more because of Vader, because we've already had, at some point after this, we know we get rectified with Maul and Obi-Wan. I wouldn't be surprised maybe if we got to see him, because during this entire time period you're also still figuring the solo movies around this kind of time frame as well too. Of course, the Cal Kestis and his storyline too. You're right. So I don't know. I mean, don't they use Duel of the Fates
I mean, could it just be used because it's a dope ass track and you want to get people hyped for a show?
Right.
But I mean, it could be either way. I mean, I understand where Dungeons is coming from. I mean, you play certain tracks that are synonymous with certain characters, but at the same time, Duel of the Fates is just a fucking dope ass Star Wars.
Right.
I mean, it's up there, top 3, top 4 tracks that like gets you fucking hyped.
Yeah, and
so you run that at the beginning of a trailer.
But it's also not just used as Maul's theme; like they've used it in other spots as well too. So, I'm just saying I don't know necessarily if we'll see it. Like I hope so because it's Maul, but I think there's enough going on with Inquisitor Sith going on that I don't know whether or not we'll mix Maul up into that because there's no real reason to, because in Rebels that gets rectified anyways.
Now, interesting about the trailer, we did not see Hayden Christensen.
No, they're gonna hold that close to their chest.
So hold that one close to the chest. Nicholas Moore on YouTube says, just bought Fallen Order a few weeks ago. Might need to play it before this comes out.
I think it gives you better perspective. I wouldn't say you would need to, but you got plenty of time to. If you haven't played it, definitely play it. It won't, take you that long.
Josie Will says Darth Maul riding around in an Amigo.
Hopefully, one of those sky blue ones.
What else stood out to you in this trailer, man? I mean, we saw Joel Edgerton is back in this,
which is great. Yep. Honestly, there wasn't a whole lot of things that really just stood out to me except outside of like Duel of the Fates. Seeing the Inquisitors. Clearly, he travels off planet, so we see a lot of Coruscant and things in that nature. I'm going to assume it's Coruscant, which is really cool as well too. So, just honestly, just seeing the Grand Inquisitor in live action is super exciting. I think they're keeping a lot of that extra little stuff close to their chest. I'm going to guess there's going to be one more trailer at least, maybe even 2 prior to this coming out. I think they usually do 2 after a teaser. This is a teaser trailer.
Teaser, so we haven't gotten the official trailer yet.
Right. So that'll probably come in a month or a few weeks or something.
I'm going to guess. Well, this show drops on May 25th. We know May the 4th.
We know May 4th. We're going to see either the final or the first one.
We'll definitely see a trailer for this on May 4th for sure.
Right.
But no, I thought this was a dope trailer, man. Obviously, I love Ewan McGregor. I loved his interpretation of Obi-Wan Kenobi. This show looks like it's high production. I mean, this looks really good. This does not look like a Robert Rodriguez Star Wars show. This looks like what you would expect. Somebody mentioned in the chat, who was it said it? This looks like a movie. This is like Star Wars as I would expect Star Wars to look in a trailer at least.
Well, it's only 6 episodes again. It's really, that's the nice thing about these limited series or these series on D+. They're really just like 1 or 2 movies mashed together. They're big movies.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to, have extra intake of things that you like and explore different time frames and eras. And, man, who else would you want really to explore more, get more of when Ewan McGregor playing as fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi?
That's pretty dope, dude.
I love that.
Zach Dynamite in the chat. He just entered in. Zach Dynamite. We got to hang out with him this weekend. Zach, what's going on tonight, dude? Hope everything's good. Crash has any shot Qui-Gon shows up?
Qui-Gon has been rumored to show up. I'm going to guess.
Qui-Gon? It's the Saginaw version of it. It's that twang. Okay.
I'm pretty sure we'll see like blue glowy Qui-Gon in this for sure.
Blue glow. Oh, we get the glowy one, huh?
Blue glowy, yeah.
Okay.
He's been rumored to be attached.
How about
to
Mace?
There's a lot of rumors actually going on with like characters we're going to see in this. No, I think everybody, as much as we want to love the Mace thing and how awesome it would be, I agree with that. I just think that the Mace thing is going to be laid to rest. I don't think we'll ever see that come full circle or fruition.
Never, ever, ever.
No, it's Star Wars. Nothing's forever, but we're not seeing Jar Jar knock that shit off. Which was another rumor originally as well too, that we might get some of these characters we might see, including Qui-Gon, might be in flashback as well too. So that's kind of what they're saying. Well, originally, Yoda teaches him how to do that because Yoda was communing with Qui-Gon at the end of Episode 3. So that's how Obi-Wan learns how to do it. So I would imagine Obi-Wan's going to be able to connect with him through the Force and be able to do that hopefully too.
I like what Nicholas says. Revenge of the Sith was the first movie I saw of Star Wars as a kid. Now we know Nicholas is a youngin'. I can't believe I get to see Obi-Wan in live action again.
Yeah, same feeling, man. Honestly.
Yeah.
Honestly, like for as convoluted for some Star Wars fans when it came to the prequel series and how I've over time learned to appreciate them more, especially when you get to like the 3rd episode and even Attack of the Clones. I think I like that more than most people, but to me, I hold true more that it's not just an Anakin trilogy. It is a Obi-Wan trilogy as well too. He was just as important. So I think it's cool that Ewan is back as Obi-Wan and having an Obi-Wan series well too. I also think it's pretty cool to have Hayden back too, apparently, as Vader. So
yeah, dude. I think when he shows up, I think that's when people are gonna be like, "Cool, man." I mean, look, he caught some shit, but I really loved him in Sith. I really thought he was amazing in Sith. That was his best performance in that trilogy. He was extremely wooden in the first two. He was just kind of like, I don't know if this guy was meant for it, but he was actually, I think it was just he had a lot of good material in Revenge of the Sith to kind of like get outside of that just kind of like dopey guy. You know, he was able to like really, you know, channel his rage and his anger, and you got to see a lot more emotion out of him. It was just a better overall performance, better, more material for him as a character.
for sure.
So it'll be awesome to see him in this as well. Josie Wells says, I think somehow they suck his life force to make him look like a 1,000-year-old Alec Guinness. Oh, yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. Now, Tone, I'm going to throw you a curveball here, man, because I forgot to add this to the list of stuff we're talking about today, even though I had it set up. We got to talk about Daredevil Season 4, bro.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot to put this in the list of stuff we were going to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Now, we know that Daredevil's getting added.
Right.
But we also know that Marvel has a new production company that started about like a couple weeks ago called Blind Faith Productions LLC. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, Charlie Murdoch he's blind and he's a devoted Catholic. There's a lot of people who are talking about how like this is clearly leading to something. We are going to get a new season of Daredevil. How do you feel about this, dude?
I super hyped because I'll tell you, like, I didn't expect that D Plus would pick up these and like continue full in like this fast. Now that they've got them, and they are. Knowing now that we know Charlie Cox they're going to keep him around anyways because of Spider-Man, and
right,
you know we know he's going to be around. I thought they would use him more maybe as a side piece in the stuff
in the movies, like not actually. Like you were like he'll show up in the movie, side piece thing, whatever.
Right. So now that they're like, oh no, we're going full head with season 4 of Daredevil. That's incredible. That also means a lot of different things. One, that means we could actually get some good cameos finally.
Yes.
In the series. My big concern would be, are we bringing in the same people involved?
I mean, you mean outside of like Charlie Cox and?
Well, I mean, definitely, I want the cast to come back. I definitely want, Foggy Nelson coming back, and who I can't think of her name. He plays Karen there. I can't think of Deborah Wool, I believe it is. I want these characters to come back and play. Like, I don't want just to be all right, Charlie Cox, and we got Vincent, and that's it.
Right.
Like, I don't want any of that. I want these people to be back. And I'm going to guess they're going to do it hopefully right. But
I think Charlie Cox mentioned the one thing he would wish is that it's a different storyline. He doesn't particularly, I mean, this is just his opinion. He doesn't want them to continue what they've been doing with this storyline. He wants them to do a different storyline that'll kind of like tie into the MCU a little bit more.
Right. And that's something that would be great too. Like Kingpin, for all intents and purposes, he's dealt with. Kingpin will always be around. He'll come around and deal with him in some of the ways maybe too. But again, yeah, you're bringing up Punisher too. I'm gonna wonder.
Let's talk about this, man. I know we talked about this at Comic-Con, but we're here with our folk.
My biggest concern with this happening, like we're on D+, we're finally getting some adult, mature rated like things, right? But how much are they gonna let this like go? Like, are they gonna pull punches on this? Is this gonna be less gritty than the other 3 episodes? There's a lot of blood, there's a lot of violence. So I want that in the Daredevil. That makes the most sense. And like Punisher, because I want some more Punisher as well too. Like John Bernthal is great as the MCU's version of the Punisher. Now that we've seen all this great conversation, this great character development, this great background on Frank in the Punisher series, the only thing we really never got was the Punisher. We never really got the full Punisher. Right. We got a version of Jigsaw apparently coming as well too, at least, in the last season of Punisher. So will they do right if they do Punisher? Like, I know this doesn't have to do Daredevil, but are they going to do right by Punisher in this? Because the one thing we just haven't seen Punisher do is full on be Punisher. I want Ray Stevenson's Punisher in Warzone snapping 75-year-old women's necks that are part of like a crime family, right? Like I want fucking Punisher to go in just guns blazing sometimes and just piecing out like 50 people in 2 seconds. So
Forge has a hot take here, and I'm going to read this now, and I want to get your thoughts. Forge says, I actually wish Sony had control over Punisher like they do Spider-Man.
No. Sony's.
I'm gonna get Forge while Tone explains this. I want you to share why you want Sony. To be in charge.
Sony's track record with Spider-Man's been good and then not so great. Outside of their animation's always really good. Sony, especially with like Venom, now with Uncharted, Sony's track record with taking things based off things just isn't great if you're a fan of the source material, because they just kind of pillage through the entire thing. Like, I never want Sony to have full hands on any Marvel product. Like, that's what I like now that Marvel has a hand in the producing and they're working together with Spider-Man to make this current Spider-Man we got much better. But like the Venom movies were not good. I'm very cautious because of that if Morbius is going to be good. Uncharted sounds like, if you're a fan of the series, has been a little hit or miss as well too. So yeah, if Punisher was owned by Sony, Punisher would probably be campy as fuck. Now, some of the characters around Punisher are definitely campy and things in that nature, but I couldn't stomach that. Like, it's bad enough that we got, Disney kind of potentially, watering down Punisher, but Sony would make it even worse in my opinion. I just,
after watching Venom and Let There Be Carnage, in general, you look at, Ghostbusters Afterlife is different. I feel like that was actually a pretty good flick. It was decent. But you look at the original, or the Ghostbusters 2016, that was Sony Pictures, and they bobbled that one. Mm-hmm. They bobble their shit more than they do have success. I mean, they got lucky with the Uncharted. I think it's an Indiana Jones type of flick. It's got Tom Holland in it. I mean, these are all like, these are going to bring people to the theater. And I think it also goes to the fact, that you brought up before, that people are going back to theater and they just want to see something that's fun and exciting. But, I'm going to go back to what Crash just said, and it also ties into what Nicholas just said. Crash says, rumor has it that Daredevil is going to be showing up in quite a few places, and since D Plus is adding a new parental control setting for these shows, perhaps they're not going to pull back on the violence. And then Nicholas says, I'm just surprised a show like Punisher will be on Disney Plus. And I'm going to go ahead and answer your question. I think because they are adding those parental controls, I don't think you can add these shows and then do any kind of follow-ups and water it down so it's not as bad. I feel like when you add these shows to your roster of shows, you're setting a new bar. Oh shit, Cherry Squishy! Cherry Squishy. There we go. She got it. Congratulations to Cherry Squishy. You are the winner of the $20 gift card. I will hit you up after the show in the Discord to figure out which choice you will make for the platform you want it on. But to get back to my point, I do feel like by them adding these shows, they have now set the new bar for what kind of content they can. Because why add those shows and then soften them
I hope
up?
so too, and because we still we want to see Deadpool on D Plus at some point as well too.
Right, absolutely.
And that's the most R of all the R's, right? So we need to see Deadpool on there as well too. So that'll be the true testament of how far they're going to go with that. Because if they don't pull that on there, then that kind of like, well, what's the deal, right?
Right.
But yeah, no, I agree. That's my hope.
Right.
That's my hope. Cherry asks, would you rather have Punisher aired somewhere else besides Disney Plus? So originally, because Disney, has 61% stock in Hulu, they control the airing on there. The original plan, from what we were told, was that they would put these shows on Hulu and put like any of their like more mature stuff on there. Well, I think once the machine started rolling Disney Plus and they started cranking out these shows and people are liking them, I think they had a moment of clarity, being like, why would we want to do that? Why would you want to split all their content? So have that on there as well too. So I think definitely you want to keep that stuff on there. You want to keep everything together. I think that's going to be really important as well too. So
Crash asked a good question. Moon Knight drops after the Marvel Netflix shows drop with the parental controls. Could Moon Knight be a violent show?
Since he's a Marvel Knight, I thought that he was going to be a more mature show and a violent show. But do we know if there's a rating on that? I thought somebody had already said it was kind of PG-13-esque.
Well, like TV 14 or whatever it is.
Maybe, I don't know. That's a good
whatever the
question.
fuck their
Hey,
rating is.
check into that, Crash, if you get a chance.
Yeah, Crash, look that up if you can.
I like telling you to do.
I just I just feel like, dude, with them adding the TV mature stuff, and they've added these shows, which, you know, some of them are kind of pretty violent. I think they've just set the bar for what they will allow on Disney. I don't think you can sit there and make and have somebody create a show that has violence that's similar to Punisher or Luke Cage or whatever, and then Disney Plus is like, well, that's too violent.
Well, it's like I said on Saturday when we were talking about this, like Disney needs to realize, just like, you know, unlike, George Lucas didn't ever realize that, you know, your fans were started out as young and they get hooked and they're gonna grow with you the entire time. We're adults that love Disney. I've said for many years, like I'm into pretty much
14. Sorry, continue.
No, you're fine. I'm into pretty much anything Disney. So like, but I like all of it. I like the children's stuff. I like everything. So I should be able to intake my content as an adult and have adult content still on Disney Plus. Like, if you can't manage your home, that's on you. That's not on us. Like, we shouldn't be affected by these not being on Disney because you can't control your fucking TV for your kids. I don't know what to tell you. That's your problem, not mine.
And I think, honestly, man, it just makes sense to have all the Marvel shit under one
Absolutely. Have it all. And like you said, like, give us some Deadpool in there, things in that nature. Let's get Logan on there, you know, just get it all on there, man. Put it on a special spot. You know what I'd really like is, like every other country in the fucking world, get me some fucking Alien on there.
Yeah, give me Predator and Die Hard and all that shit.
Give me anything that's owned by Fox on Disney Plus, like, or at least put it on Hulu, maybe. Like, I can see some of that being maybe on Hulu, but some of that stuff's not even fucking Hulu.
Sure.
Like, give it to me, man. You know, what up?
Give it to me, baby. Give it to
me.
All right. I completely forgot about that, and I seen it. I was like, shit, man, we're on Disney Plus. Let's hit this up real quick.
Yeah.
So right now, all we do know, I don't think it has been officially confirmed, but a lot of things are alluding to the fact that, look, Blind Faith Productions, I mean, that just screams everything is Daredevil. And plus, we've seen Charlie Cox in No Way Home. This just has to be a thing, right? This has to be a thing.
Right.
I heard that Anastasia is no longer on Disney Plus. What?
So that's originally was done by Fox. And they're
really?
Yeah. So this conversation actually came up earlier this week with with a friend of mine as well too. So Anastasia, whatever it is, I can't ever pronounce it right.
Anastasia.
Yeah, it was actually done by Fox. I can't remember what one of their, like, I think Fox. Fox
Searchlight.
I think Searchlight, something like that. One of those, whatever. But you know, once Disney bought Fox, they technically own that movie, but it's not technically a Disney movie. So when it comes to properties that they didn't technically make, it's not something that they always keep on Disney Plus. They do move things around and take stuff off from time to time like that. So it's pretty interesting. You would argue that she was never Disney. Yeah, well, exactly. Well,
it's a good point.
Some people would argue that, but then I'd argue that Sigourney Weaver is. So.
Sigourney Ripley is a princess.
Well, I'm just saying.
That's all. That's all really matters.
Too.
All right, we're gonna move on from TV to some movies. We got a couple of movie reviews. We're gonna save the big one for last, but don't let that fool you. Don't let that make you think that this movie isn't worth talking about. So we saw the trailer for Fresh about a week ago, and we seen, Sebastian Stan. And I was like, well, this looks cool. And you watch the trailer, and it looks a little creepy, but also kind of has like this, you know, it's a date movie where things go awry, and you're just like, oh, well, I mean, how crazy could it possibly get? And without looking at too many reviews specifically, I just went to Rotten Tomatoes and said, it's sitting at like a fucking 82 or something like that. I'm like, that's pretty good. And then I seen one of the reviews that said Sebastian Stan is like Patrick Bateman. And I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm in. Dude, Patrick Bateman, Christian Bale, American Psycho is an incredible movie. And when you see somebody like Sebastian Stan, who we know is Bucky, you know, we've seen him branch out. We talked about this past week, and we've seen him at Devil all the time. We've seen him in Tommy, you know, he's in Tommy and Pam, and we know that he has range. And so the movie Fresh comes out, and you and I watch it, and I know Tricky will share the same sentiment when I say, wow.
Yeah, if you're squeamish,
this is not for the squeam. This show starts off like a rom-com.
Mhm.
It starts off like a rom-com. And then 33 minutes into the show, you get the title screen, and then you get the real deal.
Mhm.
Then you get what the fuck you're getting into, and it is just, whoa.
Yeah.
Because Sebastian Stan, through the first 30 minutes, is that guy. You're just like, oh, man, I'm rooting for him. He's trying to win over this girl that's giving up on dating. She's dealing with all the fucking dating apps, and it's shit, and she's dealing with losers. And she's starting to believe that she's just going to end up alone. And her friend's like, no, you don't need a man. And then she bumps into fucking Sebastian Stan at the store, and he's dropping goofy-ass one-liners, but in a charming way.
Of course.
And you're just like, okay, okay, it's a rom-com. And then the title screen hits, and then you find out what Steve, who's Sebastian Stan, what his true intentions are. And this movie takes a fucking hard left. Like a hard left that you're not expecting. Cherry Squishy says midsummer levels or worse. I would say it's probably on par.
Midsummer's more cerebral, though.
Midsummer is very more cerebral, but it is also very unsettling. And I
Yeah.
will say this is unsettling as well.
Yeah.
When you realize what's Goodnight Mommy creepy, it's creepy. But it has this dark humor. It's got some black comedy elements to
Yeah,
it.
it's really weird.
It's this weird balance. Like, look, it focuses on, like, I feel like the focus, the underlying story is just how women are objectified and how people are always trying to get them to sell themselves for their bodies and whatnot. And the way that this movie uses that as its like its plot. And you also see how, like, there are some women that sell out on other women to get ahead. It's one of those movies where you're just like, holy fuck, man. It's cerebral in some ways.
Oh, yeah.
It's cerebral, but, man, if I'm telling you right now, if you're squeamish about certain things, Fresh is about an hour and a half. I think it was a little bit.
No, it's almost 2 hours.
It's almost 2 hours. It's almost 2 hours. But that's how good it is.
It might be over 2 hours, actually.
No, it's 2 hours. I think you're right. I think it's like an hour and 50-some minutes.
It's like right near the mark, yeah.
But this is on Hulu, you guys. And if you can handle some squeamish stuff, I don't want to give away what it is because I feel like that's a huge part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But Sebastian Stan and Daisy Edgar Jones, these are that's these folks right here. Daisy Edgar Jones is here, and this is Sebastian Stan, obviously. These two give great performances in this movie. You know, Daisy Edgar Jones is really good at being like that damsel in distress, but she's also trying to find her strength, and she does a really good job of that. But Sebastian Stan, from him to go from this lovable, just kind of like charming goofball to the fucking psychopath he is, without getting into any details, this guy has incredible range, dude. When you watch this, you're like, this is fucking Bucky?
Yeah, dude. It's
a wild fucking movie. There's a lot of dark humor in there.
Mhm.
It's also unsettling. Like I said, there's a scene shortly after the credits scene where Steve kind of reveals his true intentions. I felt was really hard to watch because you just realize how vulnerable that Noah's character is at that point, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, really?
Mm-hmm.
And it's very unsettling. It's not for the squeamish when you realize what Steve's true intentions are, but in terms of like it's the performances and just the overall effectiveness of the movie, I fucking love this flick, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's one of those movies that could have easily been not a feel-good movie like Midsommar or Hereditary. It could have been easily a very not feel-good movie, but there is a resurgence at the end.
Yeah.
You know, and you're just like, okay, this is great. Overall, this is a fucking wild flick, though. I want to get your thoughts, Tone.
This was one of those movies where, and of course, everybody should probably know that if you don't know this, I'm not squeamish at all. I'm a super gore fan. I want to see everything that I can see, and I won't turn away. There were moments in this I was like, yee, even a little bit for me, like at times, right? Like, just like, whoa, okay. No, I really like this movie. I was blown away just overall. Like when you start realizing plot, I'm like, something's gonna be campy in this, and it's gonna take me out of this. I was so hooked that I was like, I knew going into this, I'm like, I'm not, Sunday or no, it was Monday. I had Monday off. I'm like, I'm probably gonna fall asleep during this. Had to rewatch it. Nope, couldn't. I was glued to the TV.
He's that good. He's that convincing.
He's that good.
He's got the balance between him being who he is, and then wanting to be the guy that he's projecting.
Yep.
You're just like, oh my God, he's so good.
Right. So a lot of the things that you've said, I definitely shadow. So I'm not gonna, circle back on some of that same things. But there's a couple things I did want more from it, and really, one will be just kind of a nitpick, is it continue to show this like pseudo satanic looking goat head thing that kept showing in action screens, and we never really had that fleshed out. I wanted to dive into that a little bit more. I want a little bit more answers into that, because I just felt like, we clearly know what he was doing and who he was kind of doing it for, and you can, like he said, the 1% of the 1% kind of thing.
Right.
I get that, but I wanted to know more, because that symbol still had. I mean, it's a symbol for a reason.
Yes.
Right, and I wanted to try. Well, what are they going for there? Who is that supposed to be? Am I supposed to interpret that? I wanted more of that. I felt like that was kind of like there was no real point in showing that if you're not going to dive into that. So that kind of was kind of annoying. But honestly, like I loved his acting. I just wanted a skosh more Gonzo. I just wanted some more scenes where he goes like completely over the top. Now there's scenes where he does kind of get a little bit animated more than he's normally at. And clearly, again, he's back and forth on his range. I just wanted a little bit more Gonzo. I feel like I know he's got it in him, because especially after watching Tom and Pam and Tommy, there's moments in that where he kind of like just goes completely ballistic, kind of, because he's playing Tommy Lee. I wanted a little bit more from that in this character. I think that would have made it a little bit more, made his character a little bit more imposing, because there was times where I'm like, okay, yeah, he's got an upper hand, but it's just because he's more clever. You know what I mean? That, I just wanted more of that. But set aside for those two little nitpicks, which are really just me being nitpicky, it's an incredible fucking movie. And if you can handle it and you're not squeamish and you can stomach a movie like this, it's fucking awesome. And I'm just blown away that it's just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's continuing to do, at the end of the day, last thing I care about saying, that showing that Sebastian Stan has staying power, has range, and he can do just about anything at this point. So let's continue to see his career blow up, please.
I'm gonna circle back real quick just to counter what you said. Like, I understand like the Gonzo thing, and I think it would fit here, but I also like the fact that it wasn't Gonzo, because it just showed how desensitized he was.
Yes.
How he was just like, dude, there are certain scenes where he's just doing despicable things, and he's just very kind of just like,
he's dancing around having a good time. I like that, but
and that's why I like the not like we get to see a little Gonzo at the end.
We do.
But at the same time, I like how we don't get much of it, because I feel like that makes it even more fucked up that he doesn't realize he thinks that this is cool.
Right. I just sometimes like to see the dial go past 10 a little bit. Sometimes,
absolutely, I agree with you.
11's louder than 10.
I just feel like in this type of in the build up and what they've done with this character, and I agree 100%. I love it when Nick Cage goes off the rails, cool. But at the same time, I feel like the counter to that is when you see somebody like this who is doing the stuff he's doing, and he never loses his cool because he's so relaxed and so just okay
nonchalant,
with it.
yeah, because he's been doing it so long.
I feel like that makes it even more psycho. My mind is going dark movie for a comparison. Honestly, American Psycho. American Psycho is the closest thing I can compare to this. It's if you liked American Psycho with Christian Bale, you're probably gonna like this. But again, even with American Psycho, it's a little bit, I don't want to say gory. I mean, it's not over the top gore, but just the stuff that you're seeing are like, oh, fuck. I like what Tricky just said. 50 Shades meets Hostel. Pretty close. A little light on the 50 Shades, but the Hostel portion, yes. I was thinking a Serbian film dark. Not that dark. Serbian film is on another level of dark.
Yeah, that's like three people in a locked dark room watching something and not telling anybody.
A Serbian film is just horrific. This is like not like that. This has more dark humor and more a little bit of levity to it, but nonetheless, it's a showpiece for these two actors, for Daisy Edgar Jones and Sebastian Stan, and they fucking crush it. They fucking absolutely crush it, and it's an engaging movie at 2 hours. But again, and I can't stress this enough, and I Tone will agree, it is not for the squeamish.
Right.
If there's certain things that you don't like, there's probably going to be a point, like Tricky said, when you're in this movie, and you can be like, I'm going to probably have to shut this off. But because there's some folks that just can't handle this certain thing. And I'm not going to spoil it because I feel like 33 minutes in, you're going to decide for yourself, am I in or am I out? Because when the title screen shows up 30 minutes in,
yeah,
that's the thing that was crazy. It was 33 minutes in. It says fresh, directed by, and I'm like, what is going on? But then you realize, oh, this is where it can't be worse than the Human Centipede. I don't think it's worse than the Human Centipede. Even though the Human Centipede isn't quite as unsettling. I don't want to say the word. You know what word I want to say?
I just don't.
But I'm not going to. You know what? Just watch it.
Just watch fucking.
Just
movie.
watch it. And if you shut it off at the 33-minute mark, I'm not going to be mad at you. But if you do push through with it, we want to get your thoughts. Let us know in the comments. Sound off. Let us know. If you're listening on Spotify, I'm probably going to have a fucking question there or a rating scale. Take those polls. Answer those questions on Spotify, because if you answer those, I can read them on the next week's show. We want to get your thoughts. But for sure, let us know what you think. It's available now on Hulu, and it is absolutely worth the price of admission. Loved it. All right, Tone. We have one final. How you doing?
Good.
You good? I'm actually kind of feeling a little tinky-winky. I'm actually feeling like I got to go tinkle. I know you're probably pissed because you're like, I just want to go to bed.
I'm so tired.
I know you are. Because of your cliffhanger comment, now I need to watch it to see. Jay Hill, go watch the fucking movie and make sure you let me know.
Yeah. Don't puke.
We're going to run to the bathroom real quick.
He's going to run to the bathroom.
And we'll be right back with The Batman. Spoiler free for the most part. Yeah, we'll try to keep it spoiler free.
Yeah.
But hang on, we'll be right back. All right. And we're back. I had to run downstairs, so you're going to have to listen to a fat man breathe for a second. But, yeah, Tony and I talked. No, hold on, J Hill. We are not going to, I'm out going to see it tomorrow or Friday. We're not going to spoil anything. This will be a very general review. Maybe we'll get into like a spoiler cast somewhere down the line. But this is going to be a very bare bones review because I understand this is it's a 3-hour movie. So not everyone might have been able to get in a viewing this weekend. But Tone,
Yeah.
we went and saw the Batman last night,
Yes.
and awesome.
The end. Every night.
This movie was fucking awesome.
It was fucking incredible. It was way more than it went so far above my expectations that it's created some long conversations with Forge Hammer last night, and other people. And now I understand why there is a conversation out there about this versus Dark Knight.
Sure.
I get it now.
Absolutely.
After seeing this, I will probably say some controversial things during portion of this, but right out the gate with this, again, we dial back and look at, people going, Robert Pattinson's playing a Batman. What?
Yeah.
Well, it was the same shit people did when they heard Heath Ledger was playing,
And even
Michael Keaton,
Yep.
Jack Nicholson. It's the same fucking kit and caboodle every damn time, and here we got a guy who continues to be tied down to the fucking Twilight films, who has since passed that. By the way, if you haven't been keeping up with movies in the last, fucking 15 years, has done some incredible fucking movies and some great acting. Everybody always goes back to, is it Lighthouse?
Lighthouse.
That they can say, I need to still see that too. But he really, honestly, at the beginning in this movie, when it's set as this very noir feeling, almost like a third person talking about everything, talking to the audience.
He's your narrator. Bruce Wayne is your narrator.
And I'm just like, holy fuck, this is incredible. And man, I got to tell you, he did such a good job in this film.
Mm-hmm.
This film, unlike a lot of other Batmans, really leans into not only the detective side of it that we were kind of hoping for, more of the quizzical things. I mean, because you're dealing with the real Riddler, a real good Riddler in this one. We all love Jim Carrey dancing around being a goon, but that's that's
this
not
Riddler fits this universe.
This is a cerebral Riddler like it should be.
Yes.
Man, he fucking chewed up every scene, even as he's just playing Batman. The fact that they leaned into, again, what they've never really done, which is really showcase the fear element from the perspective of criminals, and how the essence of the Batman and the shadows, and you're doing something, but you're thinking, should I really be doing this? Because am I being watched right now? So I'm going to come out of those shadows. I'm hearing things. It looked, yes. Thank you, Nicholas. That's something else that I was actually going to bring up here shortly that I didn't say last night so much, and that I've had more time to think about as well too. All those great things. Those are some of the big things I took away from this. Clearly, the acting's incredible. Colin Farrell was amazing. Just good God. Everybody in this was completely amazing. I got so much elements of the Arkham games out of this, and whether that was intentional or not, I feel like we're at a point where we're making these movies. It's younger folks involved, people that played maybe these kind of games or seen some of this material. But the fight scenes, I got very, very big feelings of Arkham. The suit most absolutely looked very, in some ways, very Arkham video game series. There was just a lot of little things that took from that series, even the random just guys with their face painted just felt very Arkham Knight, you're flying around the city and these guys are talking about dumb shit and they're just doing crime stuff. I got a lot of that as well too, and I got a lot, the city kind of even felt and breathed like that. There's a part later on that happens where a certain elements involved, and it felt very Arkham as well too, which I think is something that happened in the comics as well too. So they did some really good jobs of just leaning into some of that, a little bit more of that source material, not just with the characters, just with certain almost feelings of what the comics or what some other media of these of the Batman has actually been able to do. And I got to tell you, I completely understand now this argument of the Dark Knight versus this. Now, I think it's a slippery slope when you start comparing Batmans, when you start comparing Jokers, even when you start comparing
it's all
movies.
based on the director's vision. A lot of this is influenced by the director's vision.
You got to be careful with that. Like, I can't speak to everybody singularly what their favorite is.
You can't sit there and compare a Tim Burton to a Christopher Nolan, and you definitely can't compare like a Joel Schumacher to a Matt Reeves.
Right. Even though the Joel Schumacher ones are not that good, but the point is that, like, for me personally, and listen, I don't love the Nolan trilogy like everybody else does. Now, that's not saying a whole lot, because very honestly, for me, like, everybody might be here with it. I'm just a little bit lower than that. And then there's other movies that are still, the Nolan movies are still higher than, right? Like, they're good movies. They're great movies. I don't love them like everybody else. I get, especially with Dark Knight, why that one, to me, is so good compared to the whole trilogy. Forge even says it too. It's really rare when you got a trilogy of the movies, and the second one is stronger than maybe the first, and could be really stronger than all three of them. That's kind of a rare thing to happen.
Yes.
But for me, if I have to rank my Batmans at this point, this is probably number 2 or number 3 for me now. And that would end up being probably above Dark Knight as well too. I just feel like this movie at 3 hours, even though it felt at times like, man, they're still going, which I was surprised by, I wasn't upset by. I'm excited because there's more here. That 3 hours didn't feel like 3 hours overall.
No, not at all.
It really doesn't. And I'm somebody who watches Lord of the Rings, Dances with Wolves, things of that nature. So this movie did, again, just to come back full circle, really exceeded my expectations. I really, really think that this movie is one that when people see it and they go, wow, that is incredible. That's incredible storytelling. That's incredible dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just completely blown away by it.
I like what Crash said. The Nolan movies are as good as the villain. He's not wrong. They really are. They're as good as the villain.
That's what makes them so good, is that Batman doesn't have to be the main character, especially in Dark Knight.
The villains are just as fleshed out to a degree. I'm just going to say this is the darkest, grittiest version of Batman that we've seen to date.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how this one explores Bruce Wayne not as this confident, bachelor.
Young, he's young.
He is a young, misguided, and scarred Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
He's still trying to make sense of everything that happened to his parents, and trying to get vengeance by taking out his aggression and the trauma that he's gone through on the criminals of Gotham. He doesn't understand what being Batman means. He doesn't understand the symbolization of what Batman is.
He does on one side of it, but
but he's utilizing it in a different way. And I don't want to say the wrong way, because how do you deal with something like what he's gone through? It really explores like what it's like to be, come up as an orphan. He doesn't have his parents, and you see that side of it. And Robert Pattinson is really, really good at conveying the struggle with that. So I love that part of it. This is a much more gothic Batman. It's the noir theme, like you mentioned. He's narrating it. This is a very dark movie, there were so many comparisons. When I was reading on social media when this movie came out, comparisons to David Fincher movies like Zodiac and Seven, and you can definitely see how those movies were influences to how Matt Reeves shot this movie. Boom, I agree with Josie Wells. Yeah. Feels like The Crow.
Yeah, fuck yeah. That's a good observation.
A great observation right there.
Yeah.
It's a very dark movie. It's one where, and not just Batman, but everybody. There's a lot of characters, especially Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman, Selena Kyle. She is scarred. Bruce Wayne is scarred. A lot of these people are scarred, dealing with issues that traumatized them in the past. And that's their motivation for vengeance. That's why they're doing what they're doing. But Bruce Wayne doesn't understand the significance of being Batman in a city like Gotham that is corrupt from the inside. And these are things that they've talked about in all the Batman movies. Nicholas Moore says, love that they made Penguin a mob boss. It just makes sense. I do. Yeah, obviously, we think of Penguin, we think of Batman Returns, we think of Danny DeVito. He's
still cool.
He is. But let me tell you what right now, y'all. Fucking Colin Farrell as Oswald Cobblepot is incredible in this movie. He doesn't get a lot of scenes. He's only got a few scenes. But that's how good he is, because you're like, fuck, I want more of this character. And we'll talk about that in a minute, because we are going to get more of that character. But Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle is very well done. And I just want to give a special shout out to fucking Paul Dano as the Riddler. Like, look, he's creepy as fuck when he's got the Zodiac look going. But when my man is unmasked and he has his scene with the Batman, it rivals the scene that the Batman has with the Joker in the Dark Knight in the interrogation room. The scene between Paul Dano is an incredible actor. He's an incredible actor. And the way he looks, knowing he has all that rage underneath and what his motivations are, and you realize how unhinged he is, he goes from this dorky looking little dude to a monster in the flip of a switch.
Yeah.
That scene, there's a scene in this movie between the Riddler and Batman where it is intense. You can't even look away from the fucking screen because you realize what's going on and you realize the intentions and you just realize it's building.
This tension is building.
And thankfully to the soundtrack, which is fucking incredible in this movie. It's fucking incredible in this movie. This might be the best Batman soundtrack we've ever had.
It's so good.
It's that good. But I'm telling y'all right now, this is a very, very, very dark movie, but it's a great Batman movie. And I'll be curious to see where they take this going forward. Can they keep when I think of like Batman Begins, the most jarring thing for me between Batman Begins and The Dark Knight is how Gotham went from like this cool looking Gotham that looked like it was Tim Burton's Gotham to Chicago in The Dark Knight.
That's always bothered me.
This jarring thing. They better keep this fucking Gotham that they created in this movie and make this consistent throughout the rest.
Because that's what Gotham is.
And it's a gothic city. They have to keep this. This has to be the same theme, the same mood, the same atmosphere. Matt Reeves should be involved all the way through to the end, and I believe he is. But this was a fucking dope ass Batman movie. I haven't had time to sit down and really kind of like rank them, but this was a very impactful Batman movie. 3 hours, and it goes by in a snap, and it has a fucking awesome ass car chase that was intense.
That was cool.
And like I said, I don't want to get too much into this, and I know Tony's in there because we don't want to spoil it for people, and I want you guys and girls to go see it and let us know what you think in the comments. Josie Wells says Jack Nicholson, not as the Joker, but as Nathan Jessup. He's good.
Yeah, how cool is Living Space? Yeah, his that was interesting. I think we're gonna see more evolution, hopefully, of that. But something I want to point out to more of not just his Living Space, but another thing about this movie briefly are details.
Yes.
And one detail that I thought that stuck with me that I thought was brilliant, something that I feel like we've never really seen in all these movies, because yes, it's supposed to be more gothic, Gotham, dark. He's at night. I love the rain, by the way, is also a big piece of that as well too. We get a lot of rain in this.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Nicholas. Yes. The Tumblr. When he continues to walk into the sunlight, and he's like they continually do that, or he's wearing his sunglasses and stuff like that. That's a minor detail that they don't talk about a whole lot. Like Batman's a night owl, whatever, nocturnal. He's out doing crime fighting at night. You wake up in the day, you're gonna wear sunglasses. The sun's gonna affect your eyesight. They actually showed those details multiple times in this, and I really appreciate that because I felt like that was something that we don't get enough of. That's just a little detail.
Nah, it's an expertly crafted movie.
Yeah.
Was Aquaman in there with his
with all the rain he could have been seriously somewhere.
Cuddles, no Aquaman in this,
unfortunately. Sorry,
but no, this was a and I understand there's been some complaints about how this is like an emo Bruce Wayne, and it is what it is.
This character goes from that. This is one of the first times, and at least in a while, in a Batman flick, where you see a character in this movie who goes from this is the Bruce Wayne Batman. That character evolves throughout the entire. By the time this is not the same Batman, the same Bruce Wayne at the end of this movie. That clarity he has at the end,
yes,
and you know what I'm talking about,
huge.
Reaching out the
it
end,
makes
because that narration, everything at the end,
exactly.
Yes, that was another thing that was wild, was to see this character evolve in this movie like that and go from this young, like, learning
Revenge
still, and then have a moment of clarity and get towards the end, and it's like there's what we were saying, there's different sides to what you can lean on for what Batman is trying to do or what that symbol means.
Yes.
And the best way is to encompass all of that, and that's where we get to, which was pretty cool. So
if I had to be really nitpicky about it, just for the sake of being objective, I felt like the transition to the final act, we had gone through most of this movie, 2.5 hours of being like this thriller, this crime thriller noir, where it was very intense. With the last 20 minutes, it goes into what you would kind of expect from a Batman movie. It goes over the top, a lot of action, it just really, it's a little bit jarring just because it's so focused and so small scaled, and
right, it was less about the action until the end.
Yes, and then the action, it's and like I said, the car chase earlier is really good, but even that is grounded. It's not over the top explosions everywhere. The ending of this really just kind of ramps up, and you're like, okay, it almost felt a little jarring, like, okay, it's like the producer's like, we gotta start blowing shit
we
up.
gotta turn this to Arkham Knight real quick.
Yeah, we gotta go nuts. But the ending was just a lot of, I mean, I understand they had to do that to get to the point, to have that moment of clarity, to have that, and I get that, but it was just so jarring. You go from this awesome scene with the Riddler, and then it's just like, Dark Knight Rises, citywide chaos. And you're just like, oh, shit, I would have loved to have gone. Because if you look at, like, for example, we talk about David Fincher, we talk about Seven. The ending of Seven, the climactic ending, was one of the most intense endings I had ever seen in a movie. And it involved 3 people in a small scale. I would have loved to have seen an ending like that in this, because everything up to that had been pretty much leading to something like that. But then it went full scale, which I'm cool with because it was well done. It was well done. But I mean, if you're going to mimic David Fincher, if you're going to try to, like, channel that, go the full 10 yards. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just how I feel about it. I mean, that's the way it was set up the entire way. Once he got to, and all of a sudden at the end, it's like Dark Knight Rises. Just like, okay,
I mean,
okay.
That's fair perspective, I think. I think if it had been in somebody else's hands, I was fine on kind of how that. I was just surprised.
It was necessary.
After
it
that
had
conversation, I was like, whoa, we're winding down, and there was more. I was like, there's more, okay, because that felt very Riddler to me. And he's like, oh, I thought you were smarter.
I thought you were smarter than that. And that part, again, it works because it works, in the grand scheme of things. But it was just kind of like,
that's a good point, though, too. Half-ass. I think that's fair.
Half-ass makes a good point. He says, I think they had to go that way to showcase Riddler's actual genius, because up to that point, it was a much more isolated thing with him. It was more, identifying individual targets. And then he was like, oh, by the way, I'm capable of so much more. So that's a valid point. That's a great point, Half-Ass. I respect that.
And the last thing I'll say for me is there's a moment at the end when in that 20 minutes where Batman pulls something out.
Oh, yeah. Well, we won't reveal, but
I'm pretty sure I know what happened there and what that is and what that can mean, and that really got me excited.
He gets a boost.
I freaked out in the theater, I'll be very honest.
He did. He freaked out. He was just like, oh, my fucking God. And I was like, oh, boy.
Yep. So, yeah, incredible film. I can't wait to see that in 45 days.
45 days. That bitch is going to be on HBO Max.
So, you don't have time to go see it and want to wait, perfectly fine.
Mid-April.
It'll be on HBO for you.
One thing I want to mention, though, is today they announced new Max Originals. The Penguin, which is the working title, will be coming to HBO Max. Colin Farrell will return as the underworld kingpin, Oswald Cobblepot.
And I think that is, first of all, brilliant, because you got, Farrell's going to be involved, looks like, as a producer.
And he's producing along with Reeves and a couple others.
That is the best way to shadow what the MCU has done now at this point, which is like have these characters on the big screen and then take pieces of it and put it on TV. hyper focus on that, grow that character, and then he can pop back in the movie and you'll be like, oh, I get that reference or whatever because I can get more Batman or more attention here. That's a great way to like flesh out that character more, who is turned into more of a mob crime boss. That is fucking brilliant. And I'll tell you what, after seeing his performance, yep, sign me up for more Oz.
And after his last scene, I was just like, man, I wish we had more Oz.
Yeah.
And now we are, which is great because seriously, man, as we're watching, he chews up every fucking scene he's in. You're just like, dude, he's so good.
And if we go forward with this series, we've already been introduced to some other villains as well, too.
Yep.
For Batman as well, or hinted at or whatever. There's potential to do that. So is this going to be their potential platform to move forward and actually do a true maybe not as grandiose as the MCU. They want their MCU, but they're never going to get that the way they keep making some of their shit. Is this going to be their way to not just create movie and create relevancy or create this big universe? They've finally figured it out. We'll have to wait and see.
I dig this, man. I'm excited for this to come out in 45 days. I know I'm going to watch it multiple times, but this is one of the best Batman movies I've seen in a long time. Yes, and
absolutely.
says, how about the Jesus Says Falcone? I wanted to see John Turturro really cut loose, and he got a little bit of that. And he ate up the scenes he was in. He had that swagger. But yeah, I didn't realize John Turturro was playing Falcone. And when he popped, I was in the theater, I was like, oh shit.
Well, I was like, Jesus. Oh, it's Jesus.
And
he
said
like...
Jesus, and I thought you just said, just Jesus. And I didn't realize it. And I was like, oh fuck, that's John Turturro.
Yeah.
Like, let's go, dude. Big fan of John Turturro. Big fan of this movie. And if you do check out this movie, let us know in the comments what you think. Share your thoughts. We want to hear what you guys and girls think of it, but I thought it was pretty dope, Tone.
Yeah. Awesome.
But, Tone, that's going to do it, dude.
That is going to do it for us as well, too.
Now, Brian MX makes a great point. So what we about to talk about, All of Us Are Dead now.
I am 2 episodes in and completely fucking hooked.
He's 2 episodes in, which is 2 more than I. But because next week is a B&B community night, means the following week I will have watched all of Us Are Dead, and he will as well. We are going to make that a focal point, Brian. Just for you. Yep. We also do know that next week is when X, that movie from A24 Studios where they make the porn, and X comes out on Friday. So we're probably going to try to make a point to go see that next weekend. X will be out. If you guys haven't seen the trailer, make sure you check that out. A24 Studios X looks fucking nuts.
Yes.
Cannot wait to see that. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about more Bel Air, obviously more Winning Time, and we'll talk about All of Us Are Dead.
Yes. So let me do what I normally do. So thank you, Lindsay, there for being over on Facebook. Appreciate everybody coming through today. Nicholas over there on YouTube, getting you on all platforms. We really appreciate that. If you're new to the stream and this is your first time here, if you enjoy what we're doing here, please don't forget to like, sub, or follow whatever platform needs you to do. And as always, if you also enjoy our content, as we want to continue to grow in 2022, please share us with people that you know, whether family member, friends, cousin, significant other, whoever. Please let them know that Banter and Babble is something you enjoy, and we'd like them to enjoy us as well too. If you also have comments, thoughts about anything that we talk about, or want things for us to talk about that you enjoy as well too, please let us know in any of the comments as well too. If you're on Spotify, make sure to give us a rating if you enjoy us. If you're
also
on iTunes,
answer the questions and take the
answer
polls.
the questions, all that fun stuff. If you see us on social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, wherever that is, please share us in some form of capacity. That stuff is huge for us. We had an amazing time this last weekend at the Midland Mall Comic-Con. We were able to network, make new friends, meet people in the Tri-City area who watch us. And they said, hey, I watch you guys. I enjoy you guys. This is the first time meeting you. It's pretty crazy. We appreciate that as well. It's great to know some of you all that are out there as well, too. You lurkers are just as awesome as anybody here talking. We appreciate all that support. So that said, thank you so much as always. Next year, Midland Mall Comic-Con will be back.
March 5th.
The return of the Midland Mall Comic. Yep. Will be March 4th and 5th. If you missed it this year, it's planned for next year, and maybe we can go a little bit more grandiose. If you come from out of town, out of state, or whatever it is, hopefully we can do something else again as well too. We were able to do something this weekend with all of you that were here, so really appreciate it. Thank you so much. for this amazing week. Again, to Paul, thank you so much for having us involved in Middle Mall Comic Con and going forward, doing more of these. But thank you to all of you as well, too. They were able to come out, able to watch the stream while we're doing that. Your support, we can't thank you enough. Thank you so much for that as we continue to want to grow here in 2022.
Yeah, we appreciate your support. And honestly, if any of you wish to support Banter and Babble further, obviously we have a Patreon that you can always visit. Check that out. And if you'd like to support us that way, you absolutely can.
Buy me beer.
Again, you just buy Tone beers, or anything that you do provide will go towards the stream. It'll allow us to get more equipment. So when we do go to Comic-Con next year, we can get more cameras on the crowd and make for a much more bigger production. So your support that way is greatly appreciated, but is not expected and not, we're not going to say you have to do it. You just showing up and being here and being a part of the conversation is all that really matters. But if you want to help out a little bit more, check out the Patreon. Or if you want to buy some of that B&B swag, we saw multiple people
wearing B&B shirts this weekend.
wearing them B&B shirts at the Comic-Con. It was pretty dope. So we really appreciate you guys'
Brian.
support. We appreciate everyone that showed up, everyone that came from out of town. And helped us get through what was otherwise a very anxiety-filled weekend, but we were able to nail it, all because each and every one of you were able to tune in and keep us cool in the chat and be a part of that experience. We learned a lot. We're going to build on that, and we're going to get better for next year. So Cuddle says he's coming next year. You better, baby.
March 4th
I'm holding
and 5th.
you to that.
Mark
March
it.
4th and 5th, man. Let's go. But for Fanboy Tone, I'm the Dude79. It's been another edition of Banter and Babble. We appreciate you being here. Next Wednesday will be a B&B community night. Make sure you're in the Discord. We're going to do a poll on what we're going to play. Among Us, Mario Kart, or Jackbox Party Game. So, we will see you next Wednesday. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Talk to you then.